say hi. Say hi to everybody. Oh. Hi guys, and welcome to my home library. So when Senorita Spencer and I sat down to plan this unit, I was trying to think of a way to best demonstrate the kinds of things that we do while we read so that you guys can also practice those things while you're reading your books. So I thought, why not just do a reading vlog and take you guys along with us as we do our reading. Today is Thursday and it's after school, obviously, and today I came home to a package which I 100% know is books. Oh, yes. Oh my god. Okay. These are the first 3 books in the Throne of Glass series, and actually Throne of Glass was one of the books that I had as an option for you guys to vote on which book I should read for this. Lily's playing with the packaging. Are you good? The other options for me, at least, were The Weight of the Stars, SCYTHE, The Astonishing Color of After, The Midnight Library, or The Nightingale. And I actually haven't even looked yet to see which book you guys picked for me, so I'm going to look that up now. My prediction, for whatever reason I have it in my mind that you guys are gonna make me read either SCYTHE or The Nightingale. I don't know why, that's just my thought. Or you're just gonna make me read whatever book is the longest. Okay, so I have the Google form pulled up and we're gonna see SCYTHE. 36.4% of our classes voted that I read SCYTHE, and that is the winner, so that's the one that I'm going to be reading. So the description for SCYTHE on the Google form was that it is a YA or young adult sci-fi, dystopian, romance, a world with no hunger, no disease, no war, no misery. Humanity has conquered all those things and has even conquered death. Now, scythes are the only ones who can end life, and they are commanded to do so in order to keep the size of the population under control. Citra and Rowan are chosen to apprentice to a scythe, a role that neither wants. These teens must muster the art of taking life, knowing that the consequence of failure could mean losing their own. And this is actually the first in a trilogy, which means it is the first in a series of 3 books. So maybe once I finish this, if I like it enough, I'll have to read the next 2. Okay, so I've got the title of my book, SCYTHE, by Neal Shusterman, and it is a total of 435 pages, which means if I divide that by 3 weeks, my weekly goal is 145 pages, and my daily goal, if I were to read 5 days a week at school, would be 29 pages per day. So I'm going to add all of this to my book bag, and I am good to go. Hello, what's up? It is Friday evening, and I thought that I would go ahead and get started on my reading. So today at school, we talked about our reading log for this week and specifically looked through at the focus questions and the area for your notes. As I start reading this, I know I'm going to want to pay attention to at least the first focus for this week, which is setting. And remember that setting refers to when and where your story is taking place, which can actually become really important to other elements of your story, like the characters, the plot, the different themes. So our focus question asks, how does the author introduce details of setting? How do you learn about where or when this story takes place? It's probably likely that you can already start to anticipate details of the story's setting based on your story's genre. So for instance, Scythe is a science fiction novel. More specifically, it is a dystopian novel, which means that it is taking place in what is likely a sort of futuristic society that is dehumanizing and violent. I at least know that there is like advanced enough technology that people don't just die anymore, which is why the scythes are needed in the first place. So as you think about your book's genre, you might be able to anticipate some of the elements of your book's setting. When it comes to this book, I think the thing I'm most intrigued by is like the actual role of the scythes. Like, do you think they actually dress like this and actually like have a scythe? Like, that's what this is this is a scythe. It says that scythes. It says that scythes are the only ones who can end life. So like, are they going to actively kill people? Or I think my prediction is that there are systems in place in this society. There's like technology and medicine that prolongs people's lives so that they never have to die. And the scythes are the ones who decide and like carry out the process of taking away that like life prolonging stuff. Which means I think we're also going to get to the question of, is there a difference between killing someone and denying someone life prolonging resources? Big questions, folks, big questions. Or I could be entirely wrong. Regardless, it's going to be important that I pay attention to the world building that's happening at the start of this. Hi, are you ready to read? Okay, a quick update on this before I go to bed. Is it true that I am about 30 pages into this book and I have already cried? Yes. I mean, people die, so I don't know what I was expecting. Also, I just cry at everything, so. Is it also true that I am loving this book? Yes. I'm realizing that this whole concept is very unsettling for me, but I'm so completely intrigued and like want to know what's going to happen. I'm too tired to articulate any real thoughts, so I will try to update you sometime tomorrow, but I did fill out my little reading log. I read 32 pages tonight, so I did meet my daily goal for today, so I'll be putting this back into my book bag, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Hello, it is Saturday and I am currently on page 49, bless you, which is the start of chapter 4. I have been using like, it's kind of hard to tell, but I have been using like the little sticky notes to make some different notes in the section that I've read so far. So I mentioned before that I was wanting to pay attention to the world building of this story, the setting of where and when this story is taking place. And we do get an important detail about when the story is taking place. 2042 is the year we conquered death, and also the year we stopped counting. Sure, we still numbered years for a few more decades, but at the moment of immortality, passing time ceased to matter. Based on this, I'm guessing it's years after 2042, like decades, hundreds, maybe even thousands of years where people have just been able to stay alive. I already feel like a lot has happened, and I'm getting a lot of information about how this world works. So maybe the easiest thing to do is just kind of talk through my different notes and kind of let you know what I was thinking at different parts of the story. So one of these first sections starts with, "The scythe arrived late on a cold November afternoon. Citra was sitting at the dining room table, slaving over a particularly difficult algebra problem." So I made a note that this was a day in November because maybe that would become important later. I also just wrote, "Doing math, LOL." We may be living in a pretty advanced society, but we've still got high schoolers doing math homework. Oh, we also got the answer to whether or not they wear actual robes like this, and they do. Scythe, Citra knew, could choose the color of his or her robe, every color except for black, for it was considered inappropriate for their job. Also, apparently they don't, like, scythes don't call it killing, like they don't kill people, they glean people. And I'm kind of learning all the different rules to scythes and what they do and what people think about them. Scythes definitely aren't liked, but they are respected, they are honored, they are feared, because they are the ones who get to decide who they glean. I think it's pretty safe to say that both Citra and Rowan are pretty disgusted by the scythes and like the concept of scythes having to glean people. And of course, because they are two people who don't like the scythes and never want to be a scythe, that the scythe that they encounter thinks that they would actually make perfect scythes. Therein lies the paradox of the profession. Those who wish to have the job should not have it, and those who would most refuse to kill are the only ones who should. Okay, so I felt like this was kind of an important detail for how this sort of society functions. It says, "The growth of civilization was complete. Everyone knew it. When it came to the human race, there was no more left to learn, nothing about our own existence to decipher, which meant that no one person was more important than any other. In fact, in the grand scheme of things, everyone was equally useless." And I just wrote a note that said, "Whoa," with like a little slanty face emoji. Oh my gosh, there's this one part where there's a scythe that has gone over to their neighbor's house to kill them, and they find themselves like straining to hear how they're being killed. And it says, "Both she and Ben discovered in themselves a morbid curiosity that made them both secretly ashamed." And then I wrote a note that was like, "Okay, but how do they kill people? Question mark, question mark." There's a part where the scythe is actually talking to the main character, and he says, "A scythe is merely the instrument of death, but it is your hand that swings me. You and your parents and everyone else in this world are the wielder of scythes. We are all accomplices. You must share the responsibility." And I just put a sticky note with a giant question mark of like, oh my god, okay. So we know that there's like advanced enough technology that you can't die. Whatever happens to you, they'll be able to like put you back together. So there's this kid who has basically become like addicted to launching himself off the top of buildings and just splatting on the ground because they'll just be able to put him back together. And he's trying to like set records for himself for how bad he can like splat on the ground. Like, oh my God, it's so messed up. And then there's a section for several pages where I have absolutely no notes because this is the part of the story where I was crying. So I basically just like transferred some of the notes that I had written on stickies and put them into my reading log. I think my feelings about this book are pretty much the same right now. Like, I'm still very intrigued. Good morning, it is now Sunday, but I did do a little bit of reading last night, so I thought that I would give you a little update. I read through page 110 last night, which means that I am just about to start chapter 11. And that does mean that I exceeded my page goal for yesterday. I read a total of 78 pages. I'm definitely loving this book. It is interesting, it is fast-paced, and there's more that I could talk about, but I think I will leave it there for now because I want you guys to have a chance to read your books. Keep in mind that our first focus for this week is setting, so be paying attention to those details. Happy reading, and I will talk to you guys later.